Thank you for joining the ETRAGE webinar. Today we explore the benefits of utilizing some of the core functionality within PTC's Windchill. While some of these capabilities can sometimes initially be daunting, they can significantly streamline processes and help you move products from conception to production more effectively. Please note that everyone is muted. You will need to use the Q&A icon for any of your questions, and those questions can be submitted at any time. Additionally, a recording of today's webinar will be available online so that you can rewatch or share with your colleagues. And everyone registered today will receive that via link in an email that once it's available later this week. Again, thank you for being here today. I am Sinead, and joining me today is Ephraim, our ETRAGE PLM manager and a senior technical specialist. We have both been in the manufacturing space for over a decade. Our entire team works closely with design and manufacturing companies to build a digital thread that connects people, processes, and data across organizations. So on tap today, we will do a brief introduction of ETRAGE, and then we'll jump into what does it mean to move from PDM to PLM. We'll do an overview and then jump into a demo so that you can see what that looks like. And then again, at any point, if you have questions, please submit those using that Q&A icon. So who is ETRAGE? We have been a PTC partner for over 20 years. In the early 2000s, we started as a software development company, and then over the years, we've expanded our offerings to support product lifecycle management adoption. And we do that so that it can extend beyond engineering and across the entire manufacturing enterprise. Our global development and support teams address your PLM adoption by supporting the systems, processes, and the people, no matter what size your organization is or the age of your company. All of our ETRAGE software solutions have been developed through requests by companies like you, whether in the medical device field, heavy equipment, industrial equipment, home goods, energy, aerospace, or automotive. If you have an issue, talk to us. We are happy to develop solutions that fit your business need, building upon or streamlining the processes that you already have in place in your teams. So, why PLM? Why Product Lifecycle Management? Before I hand things over to Ephraim, I'd like to look at our Windows tips and tricks today by asking a few questions. How do you ensure your products are being manufactured correctly? How do engineering and manufacturing teams share data to ensure everyone is working from the same information? And how do you maintain a complete and accurate BOM throughout the product's life cycles? These questions highlight the differences between simple managing of CAD files and creating a connected product lifecycle. So as I hand things over to Ephraim, he will discuss in more detail the differences between product data management and product lifecycle management. And he'll do this through some of the demonstrations of the capabilities within Windchill that can help streamline processes and increase confidence in your product data. Ephraim, I hand it over to you.
Thanks, Sinead. Yeah, welcome everybody. All right, so I'll start by just explaining high level the difference between the two. So we know that moving from PDM, or what we normally call product data management, to product lifecycle management is common across many companies that would have outgrown the basic CAD file management, so what we normally call vaulting. So PDM system definitely excels at securing data or secure data storage, the version control of it, and also collaboration around the CAD files and drawings in a centralized vault. It gives you that. But PLM extends this, across the full product life cycle of your product. So from the ideation of that product and design through the actual manufacturing, so manufacturing information of the product, the supply chain, what needs to be ordered, what material does the product use, and also information about the aftermarket service information. And also end of life. How do we, at the end, retire or mark that product as retired from our system? So doing this using the integrated processes and systems beyond engineering. So when we talk about PDM, PLM, would normally say, a single source of truth. Yes, that is true, but that single source of truth doesn't really talk specifically to the system. It basically talks to the data that we are managing. It could be this data that is, initially in PLM and then pushed to quality systems through some automations or pushed to ERP. But when you look at this information in an ERP system, a drawing, for instance, it still represents what was in the PLM system. That is essentially what the PLM, the single source of truth sense, simply means. So in the bigger schema of the PLM, PDM is often just a subset of the entire lifecycle management process. So many companies would start with the PDM for immediate CAD pain points, and then later expands. So that's how it normally gets implemented. We'll start as a PDM, but you don't need to stay in the PDM environment. Tools are already there in the PLM system that you already own, that you can expand into and start using. And maybe just to add to what Sinead mentioned about why PLM, why move to the PLM system. One of the reasons is we know products these days are very complex products. They have many variants as well. There's different configurations that are built on top of those. There's also regulatory requirements, depending on where you build in the product. That can easily overwhelm a file-based system like a PDM. So you end up having to handle these things outside of a system, and then you lose that digital thread continuation. The second one to that is quality. We know quality sells. It's important to maintain the quality of the system, the quality of the product. So if you have a system that has a strong audit trail and can easily manage CAD management and the reporting of that information, that will definitely assist in maintaining the quality of the product. Then just to talk about the benefits to moving to a PLM environment is, as I said in the previous slide, that the system would store, obviously, engineering data about the product. If it's PLM, if it's PDM, it will store engineering data about the product, the drawings, the CAD files. But now the PLM allows you to expand that to include, data that feeds into other entities. So quality information that's linked to my product. If I'm looking for service information or the requirement document about this product, I can simply type in this product name, and then it collects all the information that relates to it. The next one is the increased efficiency. So because the system would have the workflow processes that are automated, it allows you to standardize on your processes as well, and also streamlines the workflows, your workflow. So it allows visibility in seeing where a change is in the process or a promotion is in the process. It gives you that visibility. I can see that this particular promotion is actually stuck with this approver instead of having to send an email to check where the process is, you can simply find that information directly in the system, because that information is there, and allows you to manage these changes more easily. So you know who are the resources working on this change, and then you can also set the timelines on when this change should be completed. This also accelerates time to market. You want to make sure that you get the product out there ahead of your competitors. So it shortens the management of, or the standardization of this work processes will allow you to shorten the development cycles, and make sure that you reduce the errors downstream. And again, most importantly, the quality, enhanced product quality. So the system allows you to capture these quality issues or quality information early in the process. And this quality issues that's been reported are documented, and the files are updated properly, so that for the next development of a product or the next manufacturing of the product, we are using the correct information. It is not the case of, okay, so this has to change. We open a drawing quickly on the shop floor, make that quick change, send the drawing to the printer, and then we don't capture that change properly in the system, which would definitely cause issues when we need to use that same drawing the next time. And then lastly, it's basically maximizing on your investment. You do have these functions, or some of these functions in your system already. It's a matter of just adopting them and start using them. You already spend money on this, so why not maximize on that and just take advantage of these tools. And then when it comes to BOM management, there's some perceptions around what BOM is, or BOM management is, and then there's always a reality of what it actually is. So one of the perceptions we see a lot, or pick up a lot, is people think BOM is just a simple parts list, often captured in an Excel spreadsheet by senior engineers somewhere. But in reality, a BOM, we know, is a dynamic, living structure that is tied to a product data model, whether from the CAD, whether from the PDM or the PLM. So it evolves through the revision of this data. So if making changes and revising, or increasing the structure by adding additional sub-assemblies, or it could be by just adding additional metadata, for that matter, things like suppliers cost, compliance information. Excel works. It does work for small or simple products, or at the early stages, but it leads to version chaos, manual entry issues where there's errors. There could also be duplicate, or what you see a lot with a bigger team that uses Excel, whereas Excel drift, we don't know who's actually having the latest copy of that bill of material. So that multiple conflicting copies is one of the issues that comes with the BOM perception around Excel, being an Excel file. The other one is once this file is being created, or once the BOM is created, it becomes static and easy to maintain. That is not true. We know BOMs are highly change-prone. So engineering changes, like your engineering change orders and change notices, supplier shifts or changes, design iterations, cost optimizations, definitely demands the ongoing management of this BOM, or ongoing change of this BOM. And we also know that inaccurate or dated BOM will definitely cause misordered parts, downstream product delay or production delays, cost overruns, and quality issues, because you'll be working with information that is not up to date. Then the one other perception is that the BOM management is primarily an engineering task. To some extent, yes, it is. But we know that this data impacts other functions in the company, like the procurement that will need to get this data maybe through ERP, and the manufacturing guys that would need to create things like manufacturing instructions or any manufacturing information from this bill of materials. Quality at the end, that will have to use the same drawing and quality documents to do quality checks on the final product. You can also, touch on the finances or the finance side of it, because we still need to, purchase the material for this. So there's a lot of hands that touches this information at the end of the day. And whenever this information is misaligned, that causes a handoff problem, where we have misalignment between the engineering bill of material and the manufacturing bill of material. So now talking about just giving you just a picture of how this information is handled in a PLM system such as Windchill. So this structure gives you just the product data beyond our traditional bill of material. I normally call this bill of information because it covers everything that affects or that relates to our product. So it expands this to include all related lifecycle information attached to actual parts. So things like requirements, things like test data when this thing goes to production, manufacturing instructions, supply information, supply details on this, and normally the scope of this is, there's no limit in terms of what information you can link to this. So information such as the software and firmware information, change management record against your part and its related objects is easily found on this, making it easy to go through auditing. If you have an audit, it's easy to find this information and know firsthand who approved something and why was it changed, and the change approved by who. Service information and that goes with this can be attached on here, or service parts list information can be generated from this bill of material structure as well. And the other thing, important thing that happens a lot outside of PLM system, and this functionality is there in the system, available. You don't need to pay extra for it. It's a matter of adopting it and setting it to follow your business processes. So products evolve due to design improvements, cost reductions, or it could be supply issues, changing suppliers, or it could be just quality fixes, or because we're building in different areas, it could have something to do with regulatory requirements for where we're building, or it could be information coming from the customer, so it's a customer feedback. So if this information is not properly controlled, it can easily lead to production errors or scrap. Inventory mismatches, where we end up sitting with objects or parts in the inventory that we don't really need. Cost overruns, obviously delay to get this product out. So having an engineering change management provides you that structured, auditable process to handle these modifications safely. There will be trail for this. And the nice thing with this can be done outside of the system, yes. But the nice thing with doing this inside of the system is, first, it eliminates the paper-based trail that can get lost because someone decided not to file it in the filing cabinet. It also, links your data directly, or your changes directly to your data. So if I'm looking at this change, I can see which parts in the system have been modified, and I can also access those parts. And as I said, there's that entire audit trail that will assist you if you have to do an audit on this product. You're able to see why things were changed. That information is there, easily searchable. And the key concepts of every change process, and which we also think a PLM system must definitely have, is the engineering change request, which is normally an initial proposal for just documenting that change or a problem and suggesting a solution for it. And then a change notice or a change order, depending on how you look at it. Which then becomes just a formal authorization document that details what these changes, why we're doing these changes, how. So the implementation plan or process on how we're implementing these changes, and also addresses the when, the effectivity part of it. When do we start using the new changes on this? And then, as part of that process, it will have a change control board. In some systems, it might be named differently, but it's exactly the same thing. Normally called CCB, where the cross-functional team will sit around the table and decide on the change, maybe based on the cost for this change, the impact analysis, the delay in getting the product out. Yeah, and then as I said, you then set or touch effectivity to this product, and that effectivity, Windchill system specifically gives you different types of effectivity you can apply: date effectivity, serial number effectivity, and the lot number effectivity. So that can be set on the system as well. And lastly, before we get into the system itself, is if I am the approver of a promotion process, I don't want to go in and modify the file, or have to have a Creo license, a SolidWorks license to view this file. So a PLM system should be able to provide me a non-CAD viewer that I can use to mark up and measure the model and save these markups back into the system without impacting or modifying the actual model. Okay. Right, so for the purposes of just today's demo, I'm using latest Windchill version, Windchill 13.1. One of the notable changes on the new version is they have just implemented this new home view. You can still turn it off to take you to the old view of tables, but yeah, this new view gives you everything just in the interface here. Tasks that are assigned to me, anything that has been checked out to me that I'm modifying. Some report on here that shows how many of my activities are still open I need to get to. And then from the site here, I can quickly jump onto any searches, or I can directly go to my products from here. So I will go into the folder view of this, and then I am interested in one of the models here under CAD, the crank assembly model. So this is the product structure for this. The first page there, it's capturing some attributes, information in here, some metadata information. So one thing that I wanted to just mention on this is you do have a source for your part. So this just to let us know that you are either making this in-house or you're actually buying it. Is it a bought out item, or is it something that you're gonna make in-house? And also maybe going to mention that you can also add your custom attributes on here as well. Things like cost, material information about this part. And this is the life cycle that this particular part would undergo. The one other thing we're mentioning is on the structure tab here. This is basically just a bit of material of my crank shaft assembly. The one thing I wanted to mention is this structure is normally automatically generated when you check in your CAD data. It will check the structure of that CAD data. So basically how this has been designed. But there will be other components that are not, things that you design, but are things that are part of your bill of material. Example that I want to just mention in this case is the software. So if there's a software that needs to be installed as part of my crankshaft assembly, so I'm having a smart crankshaft assembly here. So it does have a control panel that I can use to control it. So I can go in and attach, the component that represents the software on here. And then alongside that software, I have installed the actual executable that is ready to be installed on that control panel for it to work. So I can attach that, or I can also attach the source code for it. Can also show you how to quickly do that. If we have a aftermarket service information that we want to attach to this, maybe maintenance manual, service manual, we'll simply go in and create a new part in the structure. And depending on what sort of modules you have installed on your Windchill, you'll have additional types on here. So types of objects I can create, like manufacturing parts, just the normal parts, the software, the service bomb parts. So I can go in and say, I want to create a part. This would be for aftermarket manuals. And I can specify the source as well. Are we having an external contributor create this manual for us, or is it something we do in-house? And I can also specify the view that I want to use for this. Is it the manufacturing view? Is it the service view? Just leave it at the design view for now. Then I can give additional information that goes with this manuals and just finish. Then that part is now created as part of my bit of material here. And at this stage, I can go in and attach the documents directly to this component, the documents that reflect those after sales market manuals. Then if I go to the related objects for this crankshaft assembly that I have here, you'll also see that I can go in and attach all the related documents for this. I have some design FMEA documents, the requirement document, and also a service document manual for this as well. And at the bottom there we have drawings for that. And then the other thing that we talked about that I thought is just important to mention is the effectivity. So I can also go in and set an effectivity on a part. And there is a couple of ways to set it. I can set effectivity based on a specific context. So I'm saying I'm only using this part in this particular assembly during maybe or starting from this date. Then I can go in and set my information, my date ranges that I want to use for that. But if I want to set it to apply across the where this component is being used, I don't need to specify effectivity for that. So I can go in and just do that here. Just this as an example to show. Maybe say from next month, we'll start using the changes on this until the new change come in. Then we can also say must be the exact date that will start applying this effectivity. So that's been added. And as I said, this can be applied for different contexts where the part is being used. I can create multiple effectivities on this for that. And the other thing is the history trail as well. So this will keep or show me the entire history since this file has been created. So if I go to that initial file, I'll be able to see how it looked at that stage or that point in time. And the other thing I wanted to talk about it at the end, but I can also mention it here, is if you have a specific module in Windchill that they call supplier module, you can manage the supplier parts in here as well. So you can go in and say, like create a new manufacturing component or a vendor component, give it a name. It's fine. Add that component, and the component is added. The other thing I wanted to mention is you can see that part is being manufactured by this manufacturer, and we have set it to say do not use. Meaning, if we need to source out this part, we should stay away from this particular manufacturer. It's an example. But if we now made some changes to it, I can go in and change that to say this is now our valid supplier. So you can capture that information and generate a BOM that will include my manufacturing part for this particular design part that I have. So this stage, I'll just quickly go in and check in this part. And then once my part has been checked in, I can now go in and release this part. So I'll quickly show you one of the functions that is already there that you can use also out of the box is the promotion request. So I can quickly go in and create a promotion request for this file because it's ready to be released. Give it a name, initial release, whatever description that I need. And I can go in and set this for a specific state. If I'm releasing it from prototype or pick prototype, in this case, we're setting it for the release. And then I'll mark it for release. And then at the last stage, this is where I can go in and select who will be my approver and who will be my reviewer. So this also can be automatically set to say if we have a couple of users that are always approvers or part of the approvers of the promotion process, we can immediately or directly add them under this promotion approvers group. Then once the promotion has been created, they will automatically receive the tasks to action on that promotion request. So the promotion request has been created now. Then it should show up in my task table here. It is came through on here. Okay, so yeah, it seems like there's an issue with my file. So it's telling me that I didn't do something that I needed to do on that file before filing for release. So I can go in and check what is the issue. So in here I can see already that the issue is that there is a specific attribute that is not set properly. So I can quickly go in and apply that attribute in here. So this helps in just making sure that before you release your data, it is all the attributes needed for downstream are actually captured and correct. So that's been captured now. So I can go back into my promotion and complete this because we've now resolved that issue. So as soon as that's done, we'll see that the task now goes to the approver. So I'll get an email if my system is set up for an email, but I'll also get that task in my tasks table. You can go into the task, and as a reviewer, I can take this file and open it up in a Creo view system that does not require me to have a Creo license. So I'm just logging into the Creo view in the other screen. Yeah, I can simply open this file in the Creo view here, load it into my reading area, and this Creo view has got some functions that I can create in here. So if I want to, for instance, look at the diameter of this piston here, I can do that. It gives me that information. So even if someone is on the shop floor and some of the measurements are not properly showing in the drawing, they can use a tool like this to open up the model or the drawing and start marking up and getting those measurements. And those red marks can be saved back into the system. So at this point, as an approver, I'm happy with my file there. So I'll go in and just approve it. I'm happy with this, so I'll go in and approve it. One thing that I wanted to also mention at the bottom here is if we needed to send this back to the user, we will send it back for rework. It will go back to the initiator of the promotion process. Or if we no longer going ahead with this release, we can go ahead and just reject it. And then we'll send them a notification that your approval has been released, and then maybe include the comments why it's been rejected. Then I complete that, then that file will now be released. So my file is now released. And for audit purposes, if I go back to history tab here, if I go back to history tab here, and I look at this, my version here, 3, which is this last one here. By looking at this, I can see who authorized this released. I can go in and interrogate who was the approver, who actually created the file, who was the reviewer as well. Same with the change process. Once my file has been released and I need to change this file, we can first create a change request. You can first create a change request, give it a name. CR1, why we creating this change, maybe it's a design issue, and I can go in and and if there's any end item or the final product we're selling has been affected, I can add it in there. This will add all the affected objects. If there's additional files that are affected by this change, I can add them at this stage, and then go ahead and create that change request. And then obviously change request has got different roles to it: change admin 1, change administrator 2, and 3. That will handle change admin 1 will handle the review and the creation of the change request. And then once that's approved, the change admin 2 will then go in and create a change notice. And then your change notice, will then have an implementation plan. So we'll then go and say, okay, we need to modify the CAD, and once the CAD has been modified, we need to go in and modify the a specific document that goes with this part. And once that's done, we need to do the next thing in the process. And then once this is now created and submitted, those tasks will now be submitted to the relevant users. So in one of the upcoming webinars, we will dive deep into the change processes and the promotion processes. The one other thing that I want to show quickly here is the configurable products. So because a product can have so many variants, there is a way to manage that just using one overloaded assembly in a Windchill system. And I'm just going to show that quickly with this simple drill bit assembly. So what I have on here, and by the way, I mean, this is something that or a functionality you already have. There's just preferences that you need to enable for you to start using configurable models in Windchill. So with the example that I have here, I have a drill bit. My drill bits there as the different sizes. You'll see. So I highlight there's actually different sizes of this drill bit. The shorter one, the longer one, and the longest. And then the other one is with the grips. I have the smooth grip, and the other one that has those finger grips on them. So those are the two that I have for this options. So as a salesperson that is selling a product to a customer based on their requirements, they can simply go into this configuration and then modify this based on what the customer wants using the options. So using these options, I'll go in and say, this is the drill bit size we're looking for. And then in terms of the handle grip, we want to go with the normal one. And then I apply the configuration. And immediately from here, I can view what that bill of material will look like. I can see what the actual product will look like. And you will also see on the bill of material on the left-hand side here, this has been filtered to only show me the configurations that I have. And at this stage, I can go in and generate a multi-level bill of material based on this information. And it goes and generates this bill of material that I can take and export out to any of these Excels, or it can be released into a specific file that can be automatically pulled into an ERP system. That is all I wanted to show for today. Yeah, that is all. At this stage, Sinead, I'm gonna take it back to you to take
Thank you,
any questions.
At this time, if there are any questions, please use that question mark Q&A icon. Ephraim, we can move to the next slide as we wait for those questions to come in. I will let you know that ETRAGE typically presents design and manufacturing webinars every 2 weeks. We will be taking a little bit longer of a break as we celebrate the 250th birthday of the USA. But when we do come back, you'll see that we'll be covering what's new in Creo 13, which was recently released by PTC. And then we're going to be diving into using AI to convert CAD data to product and maintenance instructions. You can also see that we have some upcoming classes. All of those, as well as other webinar and events, can be found at etrage.com. And as Ephraim mentioned, we will be looking at a part 2, moving from CAD vaulting to full PLM. As you can see, there's a lot to be covered, and that will happen later this year. I am not seeing any questions yet, though I know it can take a while to type stuff out. So if you are interested in moving from PDM to PLM, we are happy to set up an initial road mapping session at no cost to you. You can meet with our staff, explain what you're currently doing. We can help you identify your challenges. And then we'll provide you with a document so that you guys have next steps, things that you'll need to consider to configure your Windchill to match your processes. And also really important is identifying who should be involved in that process so that you don't have to redo it. Tweaking is fine. Doing a new implementation over and over again tends to not make people happy. So we're here to help you get it to match your business practices both today and being proactive of what it looks like in the future. All right, still doesn't look like there's any questions. You can feel free to email us after today if anything does pop up. I wanted to also note that outside of today's topic, that the latest Windchill patch is now available. PTC did release a remote code execution variability patch on June 18th. That was last week. And if you have not applied it yet, please do. If you need some assistance, let us know. Outside of our software, we also provide services. So that will let me say, as we wrap up today, we invite you to learn more about ETRAGE software and service solutions. You can find our past webinars on our website as well as ETRAGE YouTube channel. And we invite you to reach out. We're happy to address any challenges you're having around your digital thread initiative. So as I said, please call or email us. Our contact information is on the screen. A reminder that we will send out a link to today's recording so that you can rewatch and share with your colleagues. And from all of us at ETRAGE, I thank you for spending time with us today, and we will see you next time.